If this is you, you're probably exhausted, not just tired, emotionally drained. You've been holding on, hoping she'll come back, telling yourself you can handle the silence. But deep down, you're starting to wonder if you're just fooling yourself. Maybe this feels familiar. You replay every moment, every conversation, every shift in her tone, trying to figure out the exact second things started slipping away. You ask yourself, was it something I said? Something I missed? Should I have fought harder? Should I have backed off sooner? And you don't admit this to anyone. But some nights you still check your phone hoping her name shows up. You still think about the moments she smiled like you were the safest place she knew. You still hear her voice when you're trying to move on. You still wonder if she thinks about you at all, or if she's already forgotten everything you're burning for. If this is you, you're in that painful space between holding on and letting go, where every part of you wants clarity, but all you get is silence. And that silence, it messes with your head. It makes you question your worth, your masculinity, your value. You start feeling like you weren't enough, like someone else could replace you without even trying. Maybe you've been trying to stay strong, trying to act like you don't care, but the truth is you do, a lot. And that's what hurts. Because you gave her the softest parts of you, and now you're left wondering if she'll ever realize what she walked away from. But what if she hasn't realized it yet? What if her silence isn't rejection, but confusion, fear, or a lesson she needed to learn? What if this moment, the one you're about to give up in, is the moment everything quietly begins to shift? Before you let go, before you convince yourself she's never coming back, ask yourself this: what if you're closer to the turning point than you think? If you're watching this, you're probably standing at that edge where doubt feels heavier than hope. And I want you to slow down for a moment, breathe, and hear this with a calm, masculine clarity. Most men get this situation wrong because they react from panic, from fear, from the belief that if they don't do something right now, she'll slip away forever. They chase, they explain, they overtext, they try to force connection, all because they think effort equals love. But here's the truth. Most men never learn. Real masculine strength isn't proven by pursuit. It's proven by restraint. The man who holds his center, who doesn't crumble under silence, who doesn't beg for reassurance, that man becomes unforgettable. Not because he's playing games, but because he refuses to abandon his self-respect just to keep someone who walked away. There's a core masculine principle you were never taught. A woman can pull away, but you decide whether she loses respect for you. And when you stay grounded instead of reactive, when you let her feel the space she created, when you trust that your value isn't determined by her attention, you shift the entire dynamic. If you've been believing that trying harder will fix this, I'm here to tell you that belief is exactly why you're hurting. Let it go, hold your frame, let her feel what distance truly means, because the moment you stop chasing is the moment she finally has room to realize what she walked away from. He's sitting in his car long after the engine has gone quiet, hands on the steering wheel, staring at the empty passenger seat like it's holding a ghost. The streetlights outside flicker, casting a soft glow over the spot where she used to sit. Legs tucked under her, laughing at something he said without even trying. He can almost smell her perfume in the fabric, that faint sweetness that used to hit him every time she leaned over to fix the collar of his shirt. Tonight, though, it's just silence, the kind that sinks into your bones. He scrolls through her old messages, thumb hovering over her name like touching it might burn. Should I reach out just one more time? What if she's waiting for me to try? What if she's already moved on? The questions loop in his head until they stop sounding like thoughts and start sounding like accusations. Outside, a couple walks past his window, laughing, hands intertwined, and it hits him harder than he expects. Not jealousy, but a reminder of what used to be effortless, what used to feel permanent. He swallows, jaw tight, chest heavy with that familiar ache that only shows up when something you love is out of reach. He remembers the night she pulled away, not physically, but emotionally. The slight shift in her voice, the way her eyes wandered, the way she said, "I need space," like it wasn't tearing him open. And he remembers trying to hold on, trying to talk, fix, explain. But the more he reached, the more she drifted. Now he's here, fighting the urge to chase her one last time, fighting the fear that silence means she's gone forever. But there's something else too, a quieter voice under the panic. What if the space she asked for is the lesson she needs to feel? What if backing off isn't losing her, but letting her realize what she lost? He leans back, closes his eyes, and for the first time in weeks, he doesn't reach for the phone. He lets the silence sit, not as a punishment, but as a boundary, as a choice. And somewhere deep inside, deeper than fear, deeper than hope, a thought surfaces that changes everything. What if she can only come back when I finally stop trying to pull her back? A lot of men hold on to one painful belief. If I don't keep reaching out, she'll forget me. But the truth is, reaching out from fear doesn't make her remember you. It makes her feel pressured. When you chase, you don't remind her of the man she loved. You remind her of the man who's terrified of losing her. And that's not who you are. Another belief that traps you is this: if she pulled away, I must have done something wrong. No, Sometimes a woman steps back not because you failed, but because she needs to feel what life is like, without your presence stabilizing her world. Your absence is part of her clarity, not a sign of your inadequacy. Listen closely. This is the wake-up moment. You don't get her back by proving your worth. You get her back by remembering it. She didn't ghost you. You disappeared from yourself. When you stopped chasing, you stopped bleeding. You're not letting her go. You're letting go of the fear that made you forget who you are. The 3% man moves differently because he thinks differently. He isn't calmer because life hurts less. He's calmer because he understands what actually matters. When a woman pulls away, he doesn't panic, he doesn't crumble, and he doesn't question his entire worth. He pauses, he breathes, he returns to himself. This is what he understands. Her distance isn't a command for him to chase. It's an opportunity for him to stay grounded. He knows that real attraction isn't kept alive through fear or urgency. It grows when a man holds his frame even when his emotions are loud. He isn't trying to control the outcome. He's mastering his inner world. 3% man doesn't wonder, how do I get her back? He asks, how do I stay centered no matter what she does? That question alone changes everything. This is how he leads with presence, not pressure. He shows up to his life instead of waiting for her to validate it. He trusts that what is meant for him never requires begging or bending. And because he's rooted in purpose, not panic, she feels something most women don't feel often, emotional safety, not the clingy kind, the grounded kind, the kind that makes her curious, drawn in, and unsure why she can't stop thinking about him. He doesn't chase because he knows his value. He doesn't beg because he trusts timing. He doesn't collapse because he knows who he is even in silence. And that's the shift you're being called into, not to be harder, but to be steadier. Not to stop caring, but to stop losing yourself when you do. 3% man doesn't wait for her to return to feel whole. He becomes whole. And that's what often makes her return. It happens in a moment so small you almost miss it. A quiet evening, a dim room, the kind of silence that used to hurt. You're sitting there, phone face down, waiting for a vibration that hasn't come in weeks, and suddenly something shifts. Not outside of you, inside. For the first time, you truly see yourself. Not the man who's been doubting, overthinking, shrinking, but the man you were before. The fear crept in. You catch your own reflection in a window, tired eyes, steady breath, and it hits you with a strange kind of clarity. You've spent so long waiting for her to choose you that you forgot you were supposed to choose yourself. The ache in your chest doesn't disappear, but it softens. It becomes something else, a reminder, not a wound. You realize she didn't take your worth with her. She only walked away from seeing it. And somewhere deep beneath the noise, beneath the longing, beneath the narrative you've been replaying, there is a quiet truth rising. You were never supposed to chase someone to feel whole. You look at the space around you, the stillness, the unanswered messages, the empty doorway, and for the first time it doesn't feel like abandonment. It feels like a pause, a necessary pause, a space for you to hear yourself again. And in that moment of stillness, something awakens, a calm strength, a forgotten confidence, a whisper that feels like a vow. I'm done waiting for someone else to remind me who I am. You exhale, slow, steady, and the world feels different even though nothing outside has changed. Because you did, and that's the moment a man stops hoping she'll come back and starts remembering he never left himself. Sometimes the moment she finally realizes your value is the same moment you remember you never needed her to see it to begin with.